Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at A Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors, released in 1987. With a screenplay begun by Wes Craven and revised by Frank Darabont, Nightmare 3 completely ignores everything from Part 2, choosing instead to bring back Nancy and delve deeper into Freddy's backstory. Dream Warriors is the movie that began Freddy's status as pop culture icon, with him spitting out one-liners every kill and appearing in all sorts of different fun forms. Balancing out the Fred Krueger show is a solid cast of teens that includes Patricia Arquette in her first ever role. She plays Kristen Parker, whose unique ability to pull other people into her dreams leads to the creation of the titular Dream Warriors, a group of institutionalized kids who fight Freddy with their dream powers. While that may sound a little goofy, Dream Warriors has a much more well-balanced tone than the campy stuff that would come later in the series. It's also got some pretty damn memorable kills, so let's count some sheep and get to them. The movie begins with a Poe quote, "Highbrow nightmare." Then credits start playing over someone making, is that pancake batter? Oh, paper mache, that's a fun activity. Ooh, and popsicle sticks? Must be some kindergartners having a great time at summer camp. Or it's a full-grown woman. This is Kristen Parker, who's downing instant coffee chased with Coke to get this art project done. Her mom comes in and makes her go to bed, so Kristen's gonna have to wait until tomorrow to finish her perfect scale model of the Elm Street house. She must be one of those artists who finds inspiration in their dreams, because in hers, the Elm Street house looms large, with a lawn performance by the Jump Rope Girls, featuring a rare guest appearance by a jump rope boy. Kristen winds up inside the house's basement, where a girl in a floofy Beauty and the Beast dress is riding a tricycle. Then the furnace turns on and the girl tells Kristen whose house. And it ain't Run's.
Freddy's home.
Kristen grabs the baby Belle and races through the Elm Street house as Krueger chases after her. Eventually she finds herself in a room full of hanging corpses. Not enough corpses for you? Look down. Your child is now a corpse. Back to Kristen. She wakes up and the nightmare is over. Or is it? Because that handsy faucet and the funhouse mirror Freddy say otherwise. Freddy uses the faucets as his finger knives and slashes at Kristen right as her mom opens the door, making it look like Kristen was just attempting to commit suicide. To Weston Hills we go, a psychiatric hospital which the series would return to in Freddy vs. Jason. The staff at this place includes Dr. Gordon, played by not Bill Maher, and the orderly Max, played by Lawrence Fishburne, in a very transitional state between Cowboy Curtis and Morpheus. There's also another doctor there, Sims, who tells Gordon that they have a hotshot grad student coming to work for them. Guess who it is? It's motherfucking Nancy Thompson, white hair streak and all, and she shows up as Kristen is being admitted in a not so peaceful manner, throwing shit around and slashing Max with a scalpel. Nancy's able to provide some understanding and calm Kristen down with a hug. She's been through a lot. Then Max introduces Nancy to a couple more patients. Philip is a sleepwalker who makes marionette puppets, which will come back later in a fun way. And Kincaid, my personal favorite character, is a temperamental dude who Max says often winds up in the quiet room.
I do it so I don't have to look at your ugly face all the time.
Haha, Kincaid's the best. Such a goofster. Another patient is Joey, a mute dude with a teardrop tattoo and most of a mullet, and he's got the hots for a nurse who works there. Nancy talks to Doc Gordon, who tells her all the kids there have excessive nightmares, so they're always trying to avoid sleep. Nancy accidentally spills her purse, and Gordon sees a pill bottle labeled Hypnosil, which he learns later that night is an experimental drug used to suppress dreams. After Nancy leaves, Gordon notices a nun creeping in a corridor, which plants the seed for a very messy, very Catholic storyline to grow throughout the rest of the series. Meanwhile, Nancy goes to Kristen's house to pick up her stuff and finds the popsicle stick version of her old haunt in Kristen's bedroom. Yeah, I know, Nans, right? Pretty impressive paper mache. Turns out Kristen's downright obsessed with that house, and she's drawn a picture of it as she nods off in the hospital. Dreamtime comes and she's visited by a trike leaving bloody streak marks. Then it melts and she backs up out of her hospital room right into the Elm Street house. On the menu tonight is rotting pig corpse. But careful there, Kristen, this pork bites back. Another room she's in just kind of self-destructs around her before a big old Freddy worm busts out of the floor and friggin' body slams her to the ground. This gives us another classic visual from the series, Fred Worm trying to swallow Kristen whole. It's at this point that Kristen calls out for Nancy, and Nancy awakens from her nap in an IKEA chair. Seems like the popsicle house is calling out to her, and next thing you know, she's falling backwards through the chair, crash landing in an Elm Street house hallway where she checks out Kristen's kinky dream. Yep, Nancy is in Kristen's dream now, and after seeing the hungry worm, she immediately stabs it in the eye, causing Freddy to let Kristen go, then reel back and see her.
Oh my God.
As he charges at them, the girls get safely behind a door. Then Nancy wakes up and finds that a cut on her hand is carried over from Kristen's dream. Nancy immediately confronts Kristen with the popsicle stick model of her old house, and Kristen admits that she's had this dream recruitment power since she was a child, when she would pull her dad into her nightmares to keep her safe. Hey yo, Kristen, the US military would pay top dollar for that kind of power. Just saying. Time for some group therapy.
Groups in session. Straight talk only in this room.
It's our chance to meet all the other patients in this joint. Like Will, a geeky guy confined to a wheelchair after apparently trying to jump to his own death. There's also Jennifer, who plans to be an actress whenever she gets out of Weston, and finally Taryn, who has a history with drugs and chose to stay at Weston to avoid juvie. They talk with the doctors about their collective nightmare, and Dr. Sims says their scary dream man is probably just a manifestation of guilt and over-sexualized thinking.
Oh, great. Now it's my dick that's killing me.
That night, Will, Joey, and Taryn are playing a knockoff D&D called Wizard Master, until Max comes in and tells them it's time for lights out. As soon as he's out of the room, though, Joey and Will argue over who's on first shift for staying up. Looks like these kids got themselves a buddy system to stay alive. Good on them. Too bad Phil and Kincaid aren't taking the same precaution, because don't look now, but it's Freddy Krueger as envisioned by Andre Toulon. I love the stop-motion Freddy puppet here, even if we only see it for a few seconds before Freddy scales up to full size at the foot of Phil's bed. He slashes Phil all over the place with his finger knives and then rips out his, I don't know, what is that, veins, muscles, tendons? I'm not an anatomist. And starts playing Phil like a marionette puppet. Kincaid wakes up and sees Phil sleepwalking, and the sight is pretty creepy, even without the tendons coming out of him. Of course, I much prefer my sleepwalking kills with gore, so it's great that we get some close-ups of the gnarly effects as Phil is compelled down the hallway and straight through the front door of the hospital. Joey, ever vigilant, sees Phil hanging out where he shouldn't be and friggin' drags Will to the window to see. We get a great scene of watching how capable these kids are. Will busts open the window to yell for Phil, while Joey manages to get the attention of the front desk nurse and everyone else in the hospital without ever speaking a word. It's too late though. He only succeeds in gathering an audience to watch out the window as Puppet Master Freddy completes this iconic kill, dangling Phil out over the open air before slicing off his vein strings and letting him fall to his death. The movie's first kill wasn't until a half hour in, but goddamn was the wait worth it. At group session the next day, the doctors are torn over whether it was a sleepwalking accident or a suicide, and Gordon shows that he has no idea how to talk to at-risk teenagers.
Philip quit. He gave up. Philip killed himself. Now that's a cowardly thing. That's an empty thing. He let himself down. He let all of us down.
Jesus, dude, read a book on mental health maybe. After the session, and at Nancy's insistence, Gordon says he's gonna prescribe Hypnosil. Sims is understandably against testing an experimental drug on a bunch of apparently suicidal teens, but acquiesces as long as Gordon takes full responsibility for whatever happens. In the rec room, Jennifer's watching TV as research for her future acting career and burning herself with cigarettes to stay awake. But it doesn't work, because while she's watching Dick Cavett interview Zsa Gabor, things get weird.
Can I ask you something?
Certainly.
Who gives a fuck what you think?
That's how you do a cameo. Jennifer gives the TV a whack to fix it, but then it sprouts some arms out the sides and grabs her, lifting her to the screen. A Freddy head emerges from the top and delivers one of the most quotable lines of the franchise.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. Welcome to prime time, bitch.
He smashes her head through the TV and kills her, and fun fact, Prime Time Bitch is the only Freddy line ever improvised by Robert Englund, and it wound up being pure gold. At Jennifer's funeral, we pick back up on that nun storyline when she shows up to Dr. Gordon and introduces herself as Sister Mary. She tells him only one thing will save his kids.
The unquiet spirit must be laid to rest.
Ooh, cryptic. And when Nancy walks up, you know that nun gonna disappear like a bad habit on New Year's Day. Yep, she gone. Nancy and Gordon have another private meal, and this one's got candles and a fireplace, so what the fuck's going on here? Getting some serious Anakin Padme vibes. But maybe this is all just Nancy buttering him up, because she tells him it's time to quit dicking around and believe her and the kids about Freddy Krueger. Cue another group session.
Straight talk only in this room.
Nancy gives the kids the lowdown on old Fred Krueger between his child-killing first life and his dream-killing second life, and informs them that they're all descendants of the vigilante parent group that roasted Freddy alive.
You are the last of the Elm Street children.
Nancy says they may be able to defeat Fred through Kristen's convenient power of pulling other people into her dreams, and also because everyone has their own special power they can use in their dreams. Yeah, this stuff doesn't really follow the logic of the first film, but then again, none of the sequels do. So fuck it, let's get to some dream warring. Gordon uses a pendulum to put everyone to sleep, and although they don't think it worked at first, these floating metallic balls are a pretty good indication that they are indeed all sleeping together, dreaming together. Let's see what these kids can do in their dreams.
In my dreams, I can walk.
Okay, sure, yeah, that makes sense.
In my dreams, I am the Wizard Master.
All right, Will, you already went. Maybe let someone else have a chance, dude. Kristen, got anything for us? Okay, some cartwheels and a backflip. Sure, yeah, I was thinking you could aim a little higher, but that's fine. Kincaid, what you got? You are bending a chair. Wow, okay, so y'all have pretty lame dreams. Taryn?
In my dreams, I'm beautiful.
Aw, well, you were good looking before, Taryn. The punk makeover certainly looked...
And bad.
Okay, when did everyone just decide they each get 2 turns? Can we please try to have some order here? At least Joey's dream is a little more adventurous, since he sneaks off to go sleep with that nurse he's been eyeing. Too bad you don't talk, Joey. It's the perfect opportunity to say, hello, nurse. But Freddy winds up being a wet blanket on this wet dream, since the nurse's tongue play gets a little too intense for Joey, and he winds up getting some lashes that tie him to the bed.
What's wrong, Joey? Feeling tongue-tied?
Ah, shit, that's right. Now begins the part of the franchise where Freddy takes all the jokes I would have made. Freddy doesn't kill Joey, instead keeping him suspended over a pit for whatever reason, moment, and the rest of the straight-talking group gets trapped inside their room as the walls start closing in around them like a trash compactor on the Death Star. The whole situation ends when Dr. Sims enters the room to find it looking like an opium den. Joey's on the floor and not responding at all. Apparently, he's in a coma now, an incident that gets Gordon fired by the hospital superior. I mean, to be fair,
in the last 4 days, we've had 2 suicides, and now that young man is in a coma.
Yeah, if that dude didn't get fired, there'd probably be an angry letter writing campaign. On his way out the door, Gordon sees Sister Mary hanging out up by Phil's launching pad, so he goes up there to find her lighting some mood candles. She tells him this wing of the hospital was closed in the 40s after a young girl on staff was locked inside with the violent offenders who were kept there. Heads up for some sexual assault shit, because Fred Krueger's backstory ain't pleasant. The girl was raped by the inmates hundreds of times apparently, and was found days later pregnant with child.
The bastard son of 100 maniacs.
And just want to take a minute here to remind you that the way you were born doesn't predetermine who you are, you know? Children begot of rape or born out of wedlock aren't any more likely to be bad people or dream demons or whatever. Sister Mary also says that Fred's remains were never found after the fire and that they must be buried in hollowed ground to make things okay again. Got it! For some reason, Nancy's allowed to watch over Joey, and while she does, Freddy writes to her in Joey's chest, adding that special Freddy flair that really makes the message feel personal. She and Gordon convene and exchange information and realize that only one man would know where Freddy's remains are. Yo, you hear that? Is that an alto Saxon? Is that a tenor Saxon? Nah, son, it's a John Saxon. Nancy's dad, Lieutenant Donald T. Omson, is back, and he is drunk as a skunk.
Well, if it isn't my little girl.
My baby come to see her daddy?
Guess he's honoring Marge's legacy. He also refuses to believe any more Freddy Krueger shit, so he sends his daughter away. At the hospital, Kristen freaks out and gets put in the quiet room, so when Gordon calls the kids there, what, he can just call them straight direct? Taryn tells him what's up. Gordon sends Nancy back to Weston and says he'll keep working on Donald. Yeah, I'm sure Nancy's dad is gonna be real interested in talking to the 40-year-old dude running around with his daughter. Gordon doesn't wait to find out how Mr. Thompson feels about him though, instead getting rough with Donald, which like, I guess if you want to take that approach, dude. I know I wouldn't even dream of fucking with John Saxon like that, especially when the dude is probably blackout drunk. But hey, why not have him drive, right Gordon? They stop at a church where Gordon fills a bottle up with holy water and steals a crucifix. Then they drive to a junkyard that apparently Donald has the keys to, and he tells Gordon that Fred's remains are in there, but like really deep in there, and well hidden too. Sounds like this mission might take a while, so we'll check back with these guys in a bit. Nancy gets to the hospital and rounds up the remaining Dream Warrior kids for one last group session.
Straight talk only in here.
She asks them if they're still down to join up in Kristen's dreams and help save Joey, even though if they die in the dream, they'll die in real life too. They each confirm that they're in.
Let's go kick the motherfucker's ass all over Dreamland.
So she starts the pendulum of swinging and it's off to Never Never Land. I'm still not sure how exactly this logic tracks, but they all wind up together with Kristen in her dream. Freddy's claws start slashing through the walls of the room they're in, sending feathers flying everywhere and apparently separating everyone from each other. Kristen finds herself back in her bedroom, just like in the beginning of the movie, but this time when her mom puts her to bed, she's yanked out of the room by Freddy.
I said, where's the fucking bourbon?
The sharp-dressed man decapitates Mama Parker and jumps on the bed to get Kristen, but she's got those sweet acrobatic skills with a Z and manages to escape through a window and wind up back in the Elm Street house. Taryn finds herself in a colorfully lit back alley set where she runs into Freddy.
Okay, asshole. Let's dance!
They have a little knife fight, as required by law of all back alley meetings, but it doesn't last very long before Freddy breaks out the good stuff.
Let's get high.
Then the track marks in her arms turn into little mouths. Oh, sick, dude. And Freddy stabs her with the needles, giving her a lethal overdose. A truly cruel death for the recovered addict, and an image that would probably make for a pretty sweet and ironic Dare shirt. Oh hey, it does. Now it's on to Will, who finds himself in a hallway staring down the barrel at a scary looking wheelchair. Freddy's there too, being evil and cracking jokes, and then the chair charges at Will. It manages to ground him on its first run, but after it turns around for a second charge, Will gets himself off the ground and turns into a stupid looking wizard master whose zappy green finger bolts blow up the evil torture chair. Seriously, dude, last time I saw your wizard master outfit, it was on a box of Count Chocula. I mean, go ahead and wear it, I guess, as long as you don't say anything stupid.
In the name of Lorik, Prince of Elves, demon be gone!
Yeah, okay, go ahead and gut this dude, Fred.
Sorry, kid. I don't believe in fairy tales.
They're not fairy tales, they're fantasy epics, is what I'm sure Will is thinking as he bleeds out dying from Freddy's finger knife stab to the heart. Kristen and Nancy are able to reunite and are soon joined by a rampaging Kincaid who, oh yes, his way into the room. Kincaid's got a little bit of Jarvis in him.
Yo, Freddy! Where you hiding at, you burnt-faced pussy? Kruger! Pussy!
Ah, yeah, you tell him, Kincaid. Show him what it's like to get shit talked by a dude wearing suspenders. Freddy responds by placing a door in front of them, and through that door is a big old furnace cave where Joey lies captive over a pit of fire and doom. Fred shows up, and Nancy has a poor choice of words for him.
Let him go, Kruger!
Your wish is my command.
Freddy starts detonguing Joey's limbs, that's a weird fucking sentence to say, but luckily Nancy's able to reach him and save him before he hurtles down to the hellfire below. Kristen tags in with some flippy action against Fred as Kincaid uses his mildly enhanced strength to save Nance and Joey and then hit Freddy with a pipe, but he doesn't do too much damage, nor does Nancy after she impales him with a steel rod, because Fred just pulls that shit out and licks himself off a little blood snack. Blood. Then we're introduced to another new element of Freddy's whole deal. Turns out he's got a chest full of screaming faces. Yep, they're the souls of all the kids he's killed and they give him power or something. And now back to our regularly scheduled program, Dad Bod Corpse Hunter, starring not Bill Maher as Grimacing Gordon and Johnny B. Saxon as Donald the Drunk. They pop open a trunk with Freddy's remains and start digging a proper grave for it, and it's at this point that Freddy and his soul chest realize something's going on, so he disappears from the dream world to go handle his business. Freddy full-on possesses his decrepit skeleton, and holy shit, when did this become Army of Darkness? Also, watch Gordon right here. Yes, I will never not find that face he makes hilarious. Donald gets into a halfway decent looking fist fight with the skeleton before Skelly Kruger throws him against a hunk of junk and impales him on a metal bar, putting an end to Donald Thompson. Though thankfully, we'll see John Saxon in one more movie during the series. The skeleton makes quick work of Gordon too, knocking him into an open grave and doing a little victory taunt before reverting to a pile of bones again. That means he can start fucking with the Dream Warriors again, who are presently in the middle of a hall of mirrors. Freddy appears in all of them, laughing and waggling his tongue around, and even grabbing the kids and pulling them through with a real cool looking distorted effect. Joey's able to save them by finally speaking up, screaming out a Vadery no that breaks all the mirrors and spits the kids back into the hallway.
Did I say that?
You found your dream power, man.
His dream power is to yell? Cool. Here, you want some more weirdness to your Elm Street movie? How about Ghost Donald Thompson, who appears to Nancy to say he's dead now? And hey, sorry for being kind of a dick your whole life. If you're thinking this is a bit too hokey for a nightmare movie, don't you worry. Turns out the Spectre is actually Freddy, who sticks his finger knives into Nancy's gut. Oh no, Nancy! He turns his attention to Kristen, but he should have known to double tap, because Nancy pops back up and stabs him with his own glove. And in the junkyard, her screams of anguish somehow wake up Gordon, who manages to crawl his way to victory by knocking Freddy's remains into the grave and dousing them with holy water, which results in some cool looking beams of light bursting from Fred's body in the dream world. With a prayer to sanctify the whole process, Gordon puts Freddy to rest, and the Springwood slasher disappears from Kristen's dream. But it's too late for Nancy. As Kristen cries and holds her in her arms, it becomes clear that Nancy's a goner, and the subsequent funeral confirms that Nightmare 3 had the guts to kill off the original film's main character. Gordon sees Sister Mary in the cemetery and runs to catch up with her, but it turns out she's been a ghost this whole time, and that Sister Mary was actually Freddy's mother, Amanda Kruger. He goes to sleep that night with the popsicle stick Elm Street house on his nightstand, not seeing when his lights turn on. Oh honey, Freddy's home. Many Dream Warriors came out to play, but not all of them made it out alive. How many died? Let's find out and get to the numbers. In my dreams, I'm a strong boy. 6 people died in Dream Warriors, and the victims consisted of 3 males and 3 females, and even split between men and women fatalities. With a runtime of 96 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average every 16 minutes flat. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Jennifer. The whole thing looks so great, from the TV transformation to the after effect of the death. And of course, it's got the Freddy line that I find myself saying pretty much every day. Doll machete for lamest kill will be Wizard Master Will, partly due to his lame-ass Grandpa Munster cosplay, but also because we've seen finger knife stabs 1,000 times already. And that's it. A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors was released in 1987, and I think you'll find that many Fred heads consider it their favorite. The next 2 films would follow closely in its footsteps, and we'll cover part 4, The Dream Master, next Friday. Until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been The Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching my kill count for Nightmare 3 Dream Warriors. I want to thank a couple of my patrons like Matt D and 1402 News. How many of you are watching the Nightmare movies along with the Kill Count series? If you're not, I really recommend you do. I think you can pick up a DVD of the whole series for like very cheap. Also, I really want to live stream the NES Nightmare game from like the 80s, so keep an eye out for that on the channel. See you guys next week. Be good people.